We are Hoopeston Area Unit, District Number 11, home of the Corn Sugars. Our schools, like all the other districts in the state, are being affected by the state budget crisis. There have been special school board meetings to help decide how the school district is going to make up the shortfall by state funding not being released. Throughout the community, there are rumors and whispers of who is being let go, what sports and other extracurricular activities will be cut out, either partially or altogether. We took this opportunity to scratch the surface of how this budget crunch is affecting the teachers, the staff, students, the board, and the community. We had the opportunity to talk with Dr. Jeannie Connell. She is an assistant professor of educational policy studies at the University of Illinois. We asked her if some of these extracurricular things were necessary for a good education. She told us that while they're not necessary, it is a way for teachers to incorporate a learning style that might be beneficial for some children. We also talked with Lisa Lee, a Hoopeston Area School Board member. We asked how they make the decision of what or who gets cut. She told us that it is difficult to make these choices because they are real-life people that we are dealing with, because they are people with families that need the jobs. As far as the extracurricular, it depends on how much things cost and interest in the activity. Another hard decision because that activity is important to someone. We had the opportunity to interview John Klaber, the middle school science teacher and head soccer coach from Hoopeston. We asked him how the budget cuts were affecting the schools and extracurricular activities, and also if you could tell our legislators one thing, what would it be?
We've had to look at cutting aids, which then is taken away from the teacher support that we have in the classroom. We're doing freezes on textbooks and a lot of materials. We're having to, where before with technology we were able to go out and purchase things such as smart boards, Mobi boards. Now that funding has now been frozen, where we're now having to look for grants and other means to bring in the needed supplementary materials that we no longer can afford to buy. Class sizes, with the cuts, you're looking at possible teachers being let go based on their tenure scale, and that could result in increased student-to-teacher ratio with more kids in the class. As far as extracurriculars go, first thing that they're going to look at when doing any type of budget cut is to take away from the extracurriculars versus your core curriculars. This year, several sports were supposed to get new jerseys and some different sets of equipment. That all has been frozen until further notice, so we've got kids that are having to wear some jerseys that are a little bit older, deal with some equipment that's a little bit older. Our yearly budget that we have per sport has also gone down, so now as a coach, you're having to look at more individualized fundraising, either through the boosters or through your individual sport to try to come up with means to make that go. But then, like I said, you also have the big worry about, is this sport going to get cut? Are they going to cut middle school basketball? Are they going to do this, that, and the other? One thing that they are looking at because of budget cuts is limiting the amount of transportation that goes out, because the transportation element is a big part of sports, getting kids to and from games. They are looking at lowering everyone's limit in how many games you can have, which will then save on transportation costs, as well as, if it's home games, officials and things of that nature. So that's where we're at now with looking at those cuts. But they have to remember that the state is a whole. It's not just Chicago area schools. It seems that a lot of time legislation and things that are coming from the state as far as mandates and precedents and all this is based on certain select Chicago schools, whereas we have a completely different set of problems. When you look at some of your higher end schools, they have a lot of self-funding based on the property taxes, and they can generate a lot of revenue, whereas rural schools struggle with bringing in that, so then the state is then having to supplement income. When the income's not there, it's the small schools that are the ones that are affected, whereas those big mega schools, the ones that have that big tax breaks, they don't have to worry about trying to generate that extra revenue because it's already there. So their kids don't see a real detriment to their education because of lack of funding, where we see that here. So I think it's important that they look at making it so it's a clear playing field, because there is money available. It's just how they want to go about allocating it.
We also had the opportunity to interview his wife, Whitley Claver, who is a personal aide in the school. Whitley was slated to be one of the people who was part of the reduction in force at the end of the year. However, a state payment came through and she was rehired. We asked her what it was like at the end of the year when she wasn't sure if she would have a job next year, and also if you could tell our legislators one thing, what would it be?
Well, the morale of the whole school district is down. We weren't sure who was going to get called back. We were going to be called back to the same buildings that we were working with, or the same students again. So there was a lot of doubt in the state funding coming through. When we were called back, we obviously were happy to have our jobs back, but the same problems could occur again. So we're not sure, how long we're guaranteed a job for, which is a downer. I would basically just tell them that their priorities need to be straightened out, that we're finding money to do all these other things, and I just think that money needs to be put towards education, because that's where our future really lies.